Hello everybody, I'm Aaron Hazelhurst. The programme, a fascinating and exciting snapshot of all the latest in the world of business and money. We're going to go live to New York, talk about this tax inversion. But first, the referendum on whether Scotland should leave the UK has taken on new impetus after polls suggested for the first time that more people would vote to leave the union than stay in it. And that survey gave the pro-independence, or yes side, well, it gave them a 2-point advantage. The result has caused certainly concern among the no side that wants to keep the nations of the United Kingdom together. Let me just show you. Let's take a look at how the newspapers in the wider UK and in Scotland have been reporting this story. Only 10 days left to save Britain. That's the headline in the Scottish Daily Mail, which is reporting Scotland's future hangs in the balance after the new poll. The Scottish Herald leads with British Prime Minister David Cameron insisting that the Noes will still win as he prepares to unveil a new action plan for Scotland in the final days before the vote. And the Daily Telegraph's business section reports that sterling, yes, the British pound, is now on a knife edge, with predictions it'll fall if the yes vote wins the referendum. Well, I should say, in fact, the British pound has plummeted 6% against the dollar since its recent peak on the 1st of July, just 2 months ago. Let's get more, because Bob Lyddon joins me in the studio. Bob is a banking expert, and Bob, I also say, the author of an extensive report on the fiscal implications of Scottish independence. Great to have you on the programme.
Great, thank you.
So with the fall of the sterling at the moment, I want to ask you this. What is it? Is this global investors looking at the world's 5th largest economy and going, oh my goodness, it could lose a chunk of it?
Well, I think so. I think they're looking at the way the independence debate is being conducted and thinking, oh my God, what is this debate? Do these people know anything about the subject? Because, you know, you've got Alex Salmond in the most recent debate throwing out options.
So just for worldview as the leader of, let's say, Scotland.
Of the SNP, throwing out options for the currency like confetti, which some of them, I mean, like the Danish kroner. He said, let's use the Danish kroner pegged to the euro. Well, the Danish kroner is in the ERM. I mean, the referendum's happening on the 18th of September. Black Wednesday was the 16th of September 1992. That's the day that Britain crashed out of this ERM that Alex Salmond would have Scotland going to under one of his plans.
It's awfully complicated in some ways.
I'll just add to that. The other he also mentioned in that debate using the free-floating Swedish krona. Well, the krona floats, does not float. It is pegged to the euro. I mean, it's one of these currencies where if you looked at its volatility, it would be like the life support machine that is on a dead patient. It just goes like that. Yeah. And both of them, more important than any of this, is that both those currencies and the euro are signed into the EU Fiscal Stability Treaty. Now, that seems to have gone completely under the radar here, which means it's this stability to get the Greeks, the Italians, to bring their debt down to a manageable level. 60% of GDP by 2030. Scotland, assuming it takes on its per capita share of the UK debt, starts off at 90.
Ooh.
Ooh.
But look, the whole picture, I mean, this puts
we'll come back to that.
This puts Scotland in a pickle, because yesterday we had the British Finance Minister, George Osborne, say, no ifs, no buts, if Scotland goes independent, they are not going to be able to use the pound.
It's a logical trade, isn't it?
So, but then what does Scotland do? Because if you go, is it going to sign up to the euro? But then you've got France, Spain, Italy watching this very closely, because they don't want Scotland to set an
well, I think
precedent.
we have to nail currency union. You know, under a currency union, that's just like the euro now, with Germany backstopping the debts of the other countries. Yep. Britain is, UK, whatever we call it, the rest of it, is not going to backstop Scotland's debts when Scotland's taking all the oil, that's the idea, and also gets a release from the rest of the debt. I mean, Scotland, on a per capita basis, they'd take 8% of the national debt, 5 million on a population of 63, but they get out of the remaining 58/63, or 92%. So that is an enormous benefit to Scotland, even if they take on a per capita share. So it's get rid of most of the debt and keep all the oil, but you can't take the currency. And that's the basic deal on the table.
But just at the end of the day, quick question, quick answer if possible, we're running out of time. If Scotland goes independent, regardless of the currency at the moment, can it raise the taxes to pay its bills?
Well, you know, firstly, it reckons it'll have 1,500 more per head per annum. But on the other hand, ignoring that the 1,200 that currently comes up from London will stop. And there's got to be 10,600 per annum per head to basically stay where they are. I don't know. And the worrying thing, and this is what's spooking the markets, is that the worrying thing is the consideration that the S&P don't know either.
Right, OK. Well, it all does seem very murky indeed, but we'll know very soon. I told you it's short and sweet, Bob. You stay there. We appreciate your time.
Hey.
Thanks for coming on in. Bob Lyddon joining me there. Let's move on. Let's talk about President Obama. He calls it unpatriotic, but many firms just see it as good business sense. They call it tax inversion. What's that, I hear you say? It's when